Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB, and today's episode I have a guest called Sam Lai, who's the founder of MetaIncubator. Now, what I really like about this particular podcast is that in this podcast he talked about his experience in the metaverse industry. The key highlight was the importance of storytelling. So when you listen to the podcast, pay attention to what he's saying, the importance of storytelling. Now, technology is important, but it's so important to get the message across and the whole experience having the human element. And what I really found out in this interview was he introduced me about an NFT called a Saudi NFT and how you can get more information about it. And again, the key thing is the storytelling is in NFT is so important. In this podcast, he also shared about his diverse experience, the multicultural experience that he faced in Dubai, the good and the bad things also. So please check out this episode. If you guys do have any questions, you can drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com or info@metaincubator.com or sam@metaincubator.com. So let's check out this episode. So welcome Sam, welcome to the Blockchain DXB and MetaIncubator podcast. So in today's session, we are going to be discussing about the Dubai Metaverse Strategy. So talk to us, Sam. What do you think about the Dubai Metaverse Strategy?
I think it's a brilliant idea. Because I actually moved to Dubai in November last year. The reason is because we kind of know, Dubai gonna have a big bang in terms of crypto because they changed the really supportive in terms of regulation for crypto project.
Yeah.
And that's why because my business partner also in the crypto exchange business, that's why we moved here. And then somehow we are not actually the crypto business is actually still going on with my partner, but for me and we think actually the next big thing actually going to be metaverse. That's why when we come here, we don't set up a crypto incubator. We set up a metaverse incubator. And before you know it, and then suddenly Dubai in March. So after a few months, we come here and say, hey, we got to focus on metaverse too, because that's the second biggest topic in the world. And I think it will have the same effect as the crypto regulation. One thing I live here for the last 6 months, I can see the difference and changes in Dubai.
Yep.
Then when I first come here, still only people potentially just some Chinese people they were in crypto business, moved here since 2019.
Yeah.
Of course, some of them moved back to China during the pandemic. And that's pretty much it,
Yeah.
But since the last month, of course, there's a lot of unfortunate event because there's a war between Russia and Ukraine, and a lot of Russian and Ukrainian blockchain engineer move here, and also because the tax changes in India, there's also a lot of Indian project coming in, and besides that, and then we see other people from other parts of the world too, right? Even FTX are setting up an operation in here. Yep. So we can see, also especially also finance really bring in the whole ecosystem. We can see the whole ecosystem in terms of crypto are improving. So right now, they just start doing the same thing for Metaverse, and then the regulation are still trying to setting it up. They holding event, inviting outside expertise to come here. So I can see in the next 6 months or the year after that, we will potentially see an explosion in terms of metaverse in Dubai.
Absolutely. And one thing, which I've noticed is that a lot of the exchanges just in the last 6 months, as you mentioned, have actually moved to Dubai. So what you're saying is absolutely correct in the next 6 months or so. And the funny thing is, yesterday there was this news about Suzu from Three Arrows Capital, and there are talks about him.
No, he's
in Dubai as well, right?
But nobody knows what he is. Even
it'd be good to have him on our Dubai Metaverse Strategy podcast as well, maybe.
Yeah, it's hard to find. I think it's hard to talk to him. So
Absolutely correct. And Sam, since you've been in the metaverse space, what suggestions do you have, let's say, for someone who's trying to just get into metaverse, or who just wants to know a little bit more about metaverse?
Yeah, I think for me, right, it's a really unique approach to metaverse. For me, metaverse is not only about 3D, VR, or AR.
Absolutely, yeah.
For me, metaverse is about the experience.
Excellent. Yeah.
How can you connect between the physical experience to the digital virtual experience? So one example I actually want to call is the Step N project.
Oh yeah.
It's the crypto project.
Yes.
It's kind of running app.
Yeah.
But essentially, at the end is you actually never do any running. You do walking, right? You actually need to buy the NFT sneakers. So you join the program, and then when you walk around, so to keep track of your GPS on your phone,
Correct.
and then you kind of earn token on it.
Oh,
It's actually one of the extremely successful crypto projects.
absolutely.
And this is one of the few projects that have real utility.
And I think it works on the GMT token as well, right?
Yes, that's the name of it.
Okay.
I think it's green something token.
Okay.
That's exactly that token.
Yeah.
So even potentially, because the economic have issue, they crash a little bit. Of course, that's also the market condition. But essentially, this is one of the few projects I feel that's actually real utility. And the main thing is also immersed between physical and the virtual world.
Yes.
You kind of like exercising, but you're not exercising.
Yeah.
And they have, like, even right now, as of today, everybody call it, it's a scam, it crashed, but they're still generating, 20 million sales?
Yeah. They have
That's amazing
like a
number.
running group in every region also.
Yes.
So, in different locations they have...
So that's actually my definition of Metaverse. So
Yeah.
Metaverse is more about like experience
Excellent, yeah.
and social inclusiveness.
Yep.
So if you are a young guy try to study at the Metaverse, right? So it doesn't matter, are you a really kind of a really popular guy now in society, or you are totally unpopular. So I think Metaverse, the power in Metaverse is actually bringing all the people that were excluded in the social society for now in physical world and bring it back into the society.
Yeah.
Because some people, I think, a lot of experience. I'm not that good looking. I look like a dog.
Yeah.
Then I'm afraid to talk to people in the physical world.
Correct, yeah.
But apparently, those people are can actually behave normally in the metaverse
Absolutely.
under avatars. So, as a young guy, entrepreneur, try to do something like this. So that probably is the market gap you can get. Is how in your position, your special kind of unique environment. So how can you get cohesiveness and the stickiness between your own society or something that you like and create a metaverse around it? Then you don't have physical boundary.
Yeah.
Because in digital, it's unlimited.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really like the point that you said, experience, that becomes so critical to have it in the metaverse. And the point that you mentioned about, or someone, let's say, who is an introvert, they can be a completely different person in the metaverse. Yes. They can have their own exposure, own identity. And I was listening to a podcast a couple of months ago. It is about a musician. No one knows his identity, and he's so scared that he doesn't talk to absolutely anyone. But in the metaverse, he's kind of like making millions of dollars. And that is again, going back to the experience that he experiences himself and the experience that he provides to others. So yeah, definitely excellent point. And regarding the time frame, Sam, do you think, is there any specific time frame by you think metaverse will reach mainstream?
So I think in the short term, metaverse will happen maybe, I think actually second half of the year.
Okay.
Or I think early next year.
Okay.
The explosion of metaverse is not the 3D part yet.
Yes.
But it will be the GameFi.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of game projects are already under development right now.
Yeah.
And so they are maybe on hold because the market condition. But next year, they will have a lot of big promotion and launch party and everything. So because I talked to one person, he said even next year, it will at least have 5,000 GameFi projects easily. So that will be a huge part of Metaverse. And then I think the area that it need to be is not more about marketing, is how do you have any like social group or gaming group that can help to find out which to pay those games.
Yeah. And
then find out the good one, and then essentially help them to kind of grow from there,
Correct. And with reference to GameFi, there's this news circulating about Minecraft. I'm not sure if you've heard of that. They don't want to have NFTs, which is a bit strange. I'm not sure why they have not done that. So Minecraft is saying that we don't want to have NFTs that will be included in Metaverse, but maybe they might change their mind in the near future or something.
I think eventually it will, because if the NFT in itself, right, is a very interesting concept. Because for me, NFT, one really major kind of application of NFT is kind of membership.
Correct, yeah.
Right? So for Minecraft, okay, I think essentially they have some kind of level to control the user already because you register account,
Absolutely. Now that's the crucial point.
But then the question is, okay, then you go in the same problem that, okay, I need a user, I need an account, How can you make it even more inclusive to people that don't even want to sign up with an account, or other things? And then the question is, they are missing a big part of the equation because for Web3, right, the number one important thing is how do you put value into the internet?
Correct.
Just like physical money or effort or commodity, whatever, real thing. Because before Web3, everything is just information. Information for some people is priceless. For me, it's totally worthless because this is good for humanity. All information should be just free. Absolutely. But then the question is, a business person, right? You cannot make money on something that's free. And then, for me, right, I work my whole life. I have a lot of saving. Instead of putting in a bank, for Web3, it actually makes sense to put in the internet.
Absolutely correct. Yeah.
So for if Minecraft doesn't do NFT or even token or think about, of course, how to make everything make sense, fit the economic model. That's actually one of the challenge for Web3 in this cycle. But I think next cycle, everything will be working as good as Wall Street.
So hopefully by 2025 or 2026, things will be a lot better.
So, and then of course, a lot of people said they won't do it like before. They all become crazy afterward. Because I'm watching a documentary about Bitcoin. It's actually made on 2016. Even at that time, the U.S. government, all those people are so against Bitcoin. They actually physically shut down the first Bitcoin exchange, right? Yeah. But they have a physical exchange right across Wall Street, across the New York Stock Exchange. They shut it down, take away their license, make it very difficult to everybody. But see what happened right now. So,
and now it is the talk even in the Congress and even the Senate, they tend to discuss it.
Yeah, like another project I really like actually in NFT is the Saudis,
Okay.
Because it's actually very simple. I think they have 6,666 kind of the picture.
Interesting
and
number.
Each of them is exactly like kind of a Middle Eastern people looking with the traditional clothes, of course with different traits, right? But the thing why they are so successful is they really create the experience of actually being a Saudi. So in the social group, you should join the Discord group.
Okay.
And they will call themselves prince. They may call themselves sheikh. Because I don't know Middle Eastern culture that what, but at least they want it like a kingdom. That's why the first thing they said, welcome to the kingdom, and then prince blah 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 say something like this. Okay, and then maximum floor price, maximum.
Yeah.
It's still kind of like an NFT project. It's really like scampy in some sense, but they give you the feeling that you are joining something that unique and special. So I think if people want to get into an NFT project, think from that angle.
It all boils down to the experience that you have, and the storytelling part of it.
Yeah, because Bored Ape is experience. That's why they throw all the really cool party in New York NFT, so you get that feeling. I'm connected with the Snoop Dogg or something like that.
Absolutely. I mean, having a land just property next to Snoop Dogg would be absolutely massive. It'd be really interesting. In fact, Sam, one thing which I couldn't find that when they launched the Dubai Metaverse Strategy, Sheikh Hamdan actually tweeted that they're planning to have the Metaverse headquarter in Sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
But I tried to check it in Sandbox, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
So I'm not
because
sure.
It's a small piece of land.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes I think it's interesting. It's all about talk about marketing. At the end, so people try to implement something, but never think about the deeper meaning. Can my story reach to a wider audience? So actually, I can tell about one unsuccessful project.
Absolutely.
It's actually the Dubai police. They actually also have the NFT, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
But I think why it's so unsuccessful, because Dubai security is so good, nobody see a policeman at all. how many times you actually stop by a policeman? In America, you get stopped by police every day. They have their own show.
Correct.
Even on TV 24/7.
Yeah.
But then in Dubai, kind of like we never seen a police. So why I want to point out a police NFT, So that actually is a kind of irony.
Yeah.
But I think if you are a kind of NFT project creator, you got to think about that. So,
Absolutely. And I think even the Emirates Post Office, they release some NFT stamps also.
Also, but then how many people go to post office, right?
That is
the thing. But then if you go to maybe the business license office, actually issue NFT will be very popular because most people need to deal with them. So.
And Sam, one interesting project is the Museum of the Future.
Mm-hmm.
They are planning to have the NFT released, and they're doing that in partnership with Binance. So I am in the Telegram chat.
Yeah.
But we are not getting any updates at all. It's been more than 3 months.
And that's what I think. For me, right? If I'm in that project, I think about what kind of storyline will connect with the most people with the history, the vision of the Museum of the Future.
Absolutely correct. And do you think it's a possibility that when they have this Metaverse Assembly event on 28th or 29th, is that the time when they're going to officially release the NFT?
I don't have to speculate on that. So
yeah.
Maybe we should talk to some finance people and find out.
Yeah, could be possible. Yeah. Perfect, yeah. So let's move on to the next topic, which is, how do you think the Dubai Metaverse Strategy will impact, let's say, Dubai and the United Arab Emirates?
I think it definitely will attract a lot of people to move to Dubai. As I said, it's just like the crypto kind of regulation. But then I think the challenge about Metaverse is because Dubai have a really strong background in terms of finance, but it didn't have a strong really background on hardware and software and experience, like that kind of engineering and research and engineering. Right? So it will be a little bit more challenging for Dubai to attract the people here to do R&D. But it also built on top of what happens running right now, because Dubai do have a lot of actually very advantages to attract people to move here, right?
Yeah.
So first of all, it's very free area. Pretty much everybody can come. That's like the Russian can come, India can come, Chinese can come, like even the Iranian can come. Everybody. It's kind of a melting pot.
Yeah. In
the world right now, it can't. Exactly. Some people said this is kind of America, like in 50 years ago. In terms of immigrant is true, but then the question is about education, but you can talk about it later, right? And then of course, when you set up business in here, it's tax free.
Yeah,
it's very a lot more incentive to moving in, and also in a very central location between Africa, Europe, and Asia, Southeast Asia. Pretty much you tap into most of the growth area in the world right now. And I one of the data I don't know if it's correct or not, is 70% of people in GCC country are 30 years old and below. So
that is really interesting.
Right, it's a very young population.
Okay.
You talk about Japan, China, America, Europe, it's all aging. So when you want development, you pretty much want young people. So it's actually kind of set up on it. And one unique thing about Dubai in Middle East is it's also a city that have really good kind of metropolitan living.
Yep.
So because if you move from Europe or America or Asia, you want to live a good life too, right?
Correct.
And fit that thing. But then the thing is, how can you make it even more spread between different emirates within UAE? I think it actually is really good for the whole emirate too.
Yep.
Because one of the challenges I have when I talk to some company and startup is, they want to move the engineer here, but Dubai is very expensive too.
Yep.
We move to somewhere like Sharjah,
yeah,
or other emirate that actually much more normal.
Correct.
And in the meantime, can help other emirate to grow too. So not just everybody stuck in Dubai.
Yeah, I think right now there are a few projects coming up in Ras Al Khaimah as well, but then again a bit far from the main attraction of UAE, which is Dubai. Yeah.
But of course, I get one kind of disadvantage. It's not a disadvantage. It's because there's so many different culture in here, it actually takes time to understand different culture.
Yeah.
Because when you do business, they have also different business culture, and then you could take time to understand that. But one thing about Dubai is this is kind of it's not a nice thing to lose your cool. Everybody need to keep you cool, right? It's just like it's really bad if you yell at people.
Yeah.
But the thing is if you have this kind of environment, you calm people down, and we can talk about the issue and try to understand each other. So eventually, I think in a few years, then actually will be a very interesting place.
Absolutely correct. I mean, even crypto and coffee meetup that we have, there are people from different cultures, that we tend to have. So yeah, absolutely correct. Now, from your experience, Sam, do you know what are the entities involved in Dubai Metaverse Strategy? Or are there any particular entities do you think a person who's getting into the metaverse or business getting into the metaverse should be aware of?
I think, of course, it depends on what part of the metaverse you do.
Yep.
Because that probably, I think you are probably the bigger expert, in terms of the local ecosystem.
Yeah.
So I think the metaverse task force, it's definitely one of the main organization everybody need to talk to and follow to see what is their approach and what is your kind of market entry point into the metaverse.
Yeah.
Then of course they're not a closed door thing, right? That's why they're holding a big event on September 28 to 29.
Yeah.
In the Museum of the Future. And
Correct.
I think everybody should go and talk to the official. I think everybody will be there. From all different ecosystem about metaverse will be there, so we can just talk to different group and figure things out yourself. Just like MetaIncubator will be there.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say.
Do a live podcast in there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm hoping to see MetaIncubator at that event, maybe educating people and telling them about the Metaverse strategy. And there is also VARA, which is Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority. Since you've been in the industry, Sam, for a long time, what advice, let's say, you would give to companies who, let's say, want to build something on the metaverse? Is there any specific advice that you would want to give them?
No, I think first of all, you could understand the value chain, right? Just like, because there's actually a different layer of metaverse that require a lot of different environment, right?
Yeah.
That's the infrastructure layers, just like all the free 5G communication, Wi-Fi, GPU, hardware. And that's the human interface layer. When you talk about the 3D goggle, or maybe haptics growth, just like body tracking, voice control, gesture control, so many things, And after that, you have also the decentralization too, right? Just like when you're in the metaverse, do you need some kind of a mechanism to own some virtual objects or do transaction, right?
Yeah.
Just like, if you go to a metaverse bar, right? How do you pay for a drink or something like that? That's another interesting thing.
Yeah, I was reading this article. I think it was in South Korea, where they want to have a metaverse bar. So I'm not sure how that is going to work. So the hashtag that they use is "Let's make drinking great again." So I'm not sure about the company or the tech startup.
But then of course there's a creator economy too. Because the metaverse is not created yet. They have some sandbox, they have Decentraland. But if you have more, just like you think about the internet, right? At the beginning, only have Yahoo.com.
Absolutely.
But now look at how much millions of website and really cool website that we have, And then at the end, all about also discovery.
Yep.
Do we have a Google for metaverse too? Just like where's the cool metaverse thing I need to go?
That is an excellent point. I did not think about that. I think that is a brilliant point. So something similar to Google, but in the metaverse. That is a brilliant point. I think
exactly. Just like kind of you need to have a restaurant app.
Yeah, absolutely.
for metaverse, and then of course that's different experience. Every human experience they're gonna put in metaverse, like e-sport, gaming, sports, social, everything. But then of course I think at the end, never forget about is the kind of the user interface.
Yeah, absolutely
and
correct.
Experience and the humanity part of the metaverse. Because at the end, I think metaverse exactly right. The really interesting thing who actually make the metaverse idea extremely popular is Facebook. And
Absolutely
Facebook
correct.
is a social network company.
Yep.
So the metaverse is just the next generation of social network. So don't forget about the humanity social part. That's why the inclusiveness idea going to come back in.
Yeah, even in
How
the
can you include everybody in the world?
Absolutely. And even in the Metaverse Assembly, the event that they're having on 28th and 29th of September, the core area is the human element, making sure that, the human touch is there. Regarding the user experience, let's say, in Metaverse platforms, what has your experience been like with, let's say, Decentraland or Sandbox?
I think a lot of them is actually not that interesting to me. That's why for me, I'm actually, the one that I always classify as Metaverse is what real experience that you give to people. Because of course, when you talk about like Sandbox and Decentraland, is some I think it's not popular, not that popular anymore. But then for Metaverse, like it's all about actually go back to like human history. It's the storytelling. Nobody, a lot of Metaverse, they don't have a really good storytelling thing. It actually also happening to a lot of like startup I'm incubating too. How do you tell your story? Because go back to another example, right? Actually, one of the best metaverse ever is Star Wars.
Absolutely correct, yeah.
It's something that doesn't exist, but people live inside for their whole life, from when they're kid until they are getting old and they still like want to date Princess Leia, right? So
that is something which someone who was born in the 80s and 90s would definitely agree to. I totally agree to it.
So potentially, actually, that will be very interesting because the biggest guy in Metaverse is actually getting into Metaverse right now, and that's Disney.
Yeah,
so that would be interesting to follow up at what they are up to in there. So, and as a young guy, and I think in terms of media and content generation, it will be interesting too because, as I said, right, it's the aging in other society, but in GCC we're young, so I can foresee that a lot of like good storyteller and good like metaverse producer got to come from here.
Absolutely agree. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, in one of the podcasts, I mentioned that there is a company from Dubai called as Decentralized Investment Group. They are doing NFTs and they're going to launch it into Metaverse. And they're doing it in partnership with Hollywood. And surprisingly, they are located from Dubai itself. So, it'd be really interesting to get their inputs also and get their experience in.
Yeah, I think at the end, Dubai is a relatively free, like, kind of a city to do creative things. We do even see a lot of very interesting digital artists because I work in the Museum of the Future, not the Museum of the Future, it's a
Theater of Digital Art.
of the Future or Digital Art.
Yeah,
that's amazing. There's a American professor, Serena. I may get her name wrong. Yeah, she do a really interesting NFT. It's a motion with music, so she create both the visual and the audio part herself. It's actually look amazing. I don't know is it selling well or not, but at least there's something, Yeah, and also from a female artist too. So.
Which makes it even special and better also. So inclusivity is definitely there.
At least her NFT is much better than a lot of other NFTs I saw.
And this again goes back to the point that you mentioned, the experience. The experience that you got over there is definitely wow. So yeah. And one final question, Sam. Do you have any advice to listeners, let's say, who are just starting the journey in Metaverse? What is it that they need to learn? What is it that they need to focus on?
I think for regular listener, right? Just actually, sometimes I actually like to go back to if you're interested in stock.
Yep.
In America, right? That's actually everybody talk about Warren Buffett. But they actually another guy who actually really good in investing stock is called Peter Lynch.
Peter Lynch, okay.
Yeah. So one famous actually he advised to give other people is you want to invest in stock, go to the mall.
Oh, excellent.
And ask the young people, okay, what are the popular things in the mall? So you may find you actually may find H&M, and Uniqlo, because at that time it's like Gap. Those really early stage companies that actually getting people's attention to And then it actually grow in the future, like Abercrombie, all those big brands.
Yep.
But it's the same thing. I think we apply on the metaverse. It's just like keep your eyes open, no matter how crazy that idea will be. Just like step in, still a very successful project.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So just be open minded, and then you will find really good thing, or your interest out of it, and then from there you gotta figure out which kind of layer of the metaverse you want to do. Can I want to do hardware? I want to focus on the software, or just like the experience. But then the question everybody should always think about is where's the product market fit if you want to be a metaverse entrepreneur.
Correct. Yeah.
Because you're not trying to build metaverse. You want to build a metaverse that people want.
Yeah.
So the people want part is actually always half of the problem. Technology is only half, or actually less than half of what I want.
Correct.
I'm actually an engineer myself. I'm always work in technical company.
Okay.
But the more deeper I go into, then I actually think the engineering and the technology part is actually becomes smaller and smaller. But nobody really working really hard at the early stage company is talk to customer and find out what the market want, because nobody don't know what they want. So somehow they cannot tell you what they want to. So how do you figure out that process to investigate what's the hidden need of the society? That's actually would be a main thing for metaverse.
Yeah, and it's a great point that you mentioned. You keep touching on the experience part of it. That even though technology accounts for a lesser percentage, it's the whole experience that wants people to keep coming back again and again.
Because a few years ago, you'd ask me, I'm going to buy everything on the internet. I think it's crazy, right? Why? You don't want to touch the shoe or touch the clothes before you buy it. But see, now everybody buy on internet because the experience on the internet changed so much.
Yeah. And
then the metaverse is just one more level up to give you even much richer experience.
Yeah.
To connect in the internet.
And the point that you mentioned about buying things over the internet, I asked my niece that my niece listens to a lot of K-pop music, and I asked her that if K-pop music were to play in Dubai, would you go there or would you prefer to watch it online? And she said I would prefer to watch it online.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that change is happening right now. Like for our generation, we would physically prefer to go there, get the experience, but the young generation, and maybe we need to adapt. And the point that you mentioned about going to the mall, asking an average daily person what is in trend right now, I think that is something which is really critical, and businesses should adapt to it also.
No, I think actually that's actually a really interesting topic because of course America is always a little bit kind of forward compared to our society. It's one thing I think as a human being, we hit the limits of connection with the internet.
Correct.
So we pretty much the moment that we wake up, we connect to the internet until the moment that we sleep. Right. The first thing we wake up is check our messages. The last thing we do, of course, we go to work, we go to the computer, do research, blah 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 blah, and then before we sleep, we check messages and then we go to sleep.
Absolutely.
So potentially, the amount of time that people spend on the network is already maximum. But then the question is, how can you make that time more productive, more beneficial, and do more social good or human good, to the person? That actually would be the critical.
Absolutely correct. And Sam, I'll just ask you on the spot a tricky question, and I just want to get your opinion on it. Let's say in the year 2050, do you think the metaverse economy will be bigger than the real economy? What is your opinion on that?
I think it's absolutely will be bigger, right? Because right now, even look at right now.
Yeah.
Okay, we are from a kind of agricultural society, move to industrial society, move to kind of information-based society right now. And how much bigger our economy is.
Yeah.
So right now, the service industry in America is 70% of the economy.
Yeah.
So it means service, it means something that doesn't exist before. It's just service. And then when you talk about put the metaverse in there, we will have even more virtual good,
Absolutely, yeah.
And financial product on those virtual goods.
Which just exists in the metaverse, right?
Only exists in the metaverse or exists inside the computer. But it's still, but the thing is, all those things is still real because as long as we make the people feel good.
Yep.
And that's utility. So it's real economy too. So the metaverse economy potentially will be bigger than the real economy.
Yep.
Because exactly right now, you look at myself or yourself, right? How much money you spend on digital product, and how much money you spend on real physical product like food, gas, or whatever. Except the house, you take away the house,
Correct.
You spend more time on digital product than physical product.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Yeah. So even I'm thinking about that, and maybe by 2050, it just might be bigger than the real.
Mm-hmm.
And one final question, nothing to do with metaverse. What is your favorite genre of music, and do you want to tell the listeners what you like to listen to?
I actually always love classical music. That's actually a kind of a crazy thing I picked up during the pandemic. Because I think the world is a really crazy place, but sometimes classical music calm me down.
Absolutely.
And the one I told you so many times, the one that I really enjoy the most, the Goldberg variation from Bach. So,
yeah, I think our listeners should definitely check out the music. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's the Green Goose edition too. So
yeah, I heard it for like 30 seconds and I literally got hooked to it. So that's about it, Sam. Do you have any question for me? Or
no, no. The question is when I can come back next time.
Yeah, we can definitely.
Talking,
Yeah, we can definitely have this session and maybe have a kind of series of podcasts explaining, to average listeners what metaverse is.
Yeah, because we should do a lot of AMA section because I think that's will help people. So
yeah, we should definitely do an Ask Me Anything session so listeners can ask any questions that they have as well. Thank you so very much, Sam. Really appreciate this.
I'm happy to talk to you too.
Thank you.